Periyava Sharanam, Experiences with His Holiness, narrated by Naduvakare A. Narayanaswamy Iyer, Chennai 107, compiled by T.S. Kodandarama Sharma. What does Sir Stafford Cripps say? My father, Alangudi Abatsagayam Iyer, was a slave of Periyava. In the 1920s, while remaining in his post of the village officer of the Umamaheshwarapuram Taluk, he presided over the civil disobedience and refusal to pay taxes movement initiated by Mahatma Gandhi and was dismissed from service for having conducted that movement in Kumbakonam and Papanasham taluks. Then he became a journalist and ran a magazine called Gramanukolan. Since he was also a Congress worker, he was made to suffer in many ways, resulting in financial losses. Sri Mahaperiyava was the Kankanda Devam, God seen with one's own eyes, to my father in those days, supporting him with his blessings and some financial help from the Matham, supporting his writings with money and advice, introducing him to some wealthy people and enabling him to run his family affairs. It was said that generally Periyava was fond of journalists and that he used to make them stay in the Matham and give a meal, sometimes personally attending to them by visiting the dining place. It was Periyava who wore the kadar as kavi, hand-spun cotton cloth as saffron cloth by dyeing it with saffron color. 18 years later, in 1938, when Rajaji became the Chief Minister of Madras Presidency, he passed orders for restoring the old VO post to my father. Our family, which was in Ajnatavasam, having lost everything, once again returned to our village. Around the year 1950, Periyava camped in our village for some days. The entire village was happy. Countless devotees visiting it, and it wore a festive look. It is in our village that the river Kaveri separates into the Kaveri and Veerachoran rivers. To reach the Kaveri waters, one needs to cross the waters of Veerachoran. The area between the rivers would look as green as in Kerala, studded with coconut, banana and many other large trees. It would be a park of peace. A large banyan tree could be seen spreading its branches across half over the land and half over the Kaveri waters. The beauty of the Kaveri waters filtering along the sand under its shades was an attraction for Periyava. He would go there daily in the mornings, sit on the expanse of the river-washed sands and do silent tapas. He would also have his snana, japam, bath and prayers in that place for hours together. It was difficult to cross the waist-high waters of Veerachoran to reach that spot. Women couldn't venture it. Nevertheless, a crowd of devotees would assemble there. Then, returning to the Matham camp, there would be puja and darshan festivities till late night. What about the darshan people had? Women and men taking their turns in separate queues would look strange. Some people talked that it was to avoid the crowd that Periyava sought ekanta, solitude on the spot between the rivers. One day after the pujas were over, there was some bustle in the afternoon at the entrance to the Matham camp. I was standing in front of our home and rushed to see what the matter was. Two people from Kudandai, Kumbakonam, were trying to enter the Matham wearing their shirts and sandals and the gatekeeper was shouting at them, trying to stop them, but they wouldn't yield. With the help of people from that area, I caught them, temporarily secured them to the coconut trees, and handed them over to the policemen who happened to pass that side. And then the policemen sent them to the Thiruvidai Marudur police station. After the pujas were over on that night, Periyava sent word for me, got the details from me and asked, "Very well, but how did the policemen come there at that time?" Some people had appealed to the government that since I was a member of the Communist Party, I should not be allowed to hold a government job. I was assisting my father, who was a village officer of the nearby village at that time. An officer from the investigation department had come to inquire about it. He was accompanied by 2 constables to identify me to him. I made use of them. As I said this, he wondered, "Is that so?" Then he called the librarian and told him, "Tomorrow you give this man the book 6 authors about communism that I had earlier asked you to buy." Looking at me, he gave directions. "Read the book and tell me what it contains within a week. If anybody asks you, tell him about your reading that book." It was a voluminous book like a dictionary. I remember that it cost rupees 40 when the exchange rate for a pound sterling was rupees 15 at that time. The book was authored by Stafford Cripps, Anuvin Bevan, Louis Fisher, and 3 other Western experts. The very look of the book gave me the jitters, but then it was an order from Periyaval. I tried hard to read the book. A week passed by. Remembering it duly, he asked me one day, "What, did you read the book? Enna sollirukkan? What is it that he has talked about?" It is a voluminous book. I could not follow some pages of it, could only read what Stafford Cripps has written. "All right, what does he say?" I said, "He says, all isms try to give something to mankind, but communism takes away everything from mankind." Periyaval's face that asked me, "You understand?" with a divine charming smile which is still fresh before my eyes. After this incident, a change occurred in my thoughts and I gave myself in total surrender to Periyaval. To be continued, Periyava Sharanam.